Welcome to the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at tonight's 15-game slate, which features a ton of pitching options and certainly a Coors game, but I think you and I were both in agreement coming over from FanDuel that it's not the game that we're getting really a ton of exposure to.
No, certainly not. It's kind of ugly, in fact.
It is. It certainly is. Look at the first game here. Nationals and Phillies, Gerard Eichhoff versus Max Scherzer. As far as the pricing goes for these Nationals bats, I mean, obviously I do like the lefties against Eichhoff. I like Murphy and Harper. But as far as getting them fit into cash game lineups, I don't think it's quite doable. I don't feel like I need to kind of overexert myself there to fit them in.
Would you like a more descriptive way of describing the Coors game? I could say it's like my toenails. Would that better? Would that
geez.
better like?
Why do you got to do that? Why do you have to do that to the general public, Russell?
You were clearly looking for something more, so that's what I got for you.
All right, well, thanks.
That's my comparison. My range of outcomes for the Coors game is my toenails to my fingernails. Anyway, Nationals and Phillies. Yeah. These prices are tough to pay up for the Nationals bats, but I mean, you're looking at Jason Worth, 3,700. Sitting right there for us, pallies.
It's certainly good. It's certainly a nice price. Him and guys like Ramos and Rendon are okay secondary pieces. It's just usually we feel better, targeting Eichhoff from the left side. I don't mind them. I mean, you still look at the Nationals, nearly a 5-run total, so I'm okay with using them in terms of value.
Right.
So, as far as the Phillies go, no real need for me to dive down and kind of go with these options here.
No, I'm all set with that. Odubel Herrera's priced up enough where I don't feel the need to use him against Scherzer.
No. Blue Jays and Orioles next year. Jay Happ versus Ubaldo Jimenez. Toronto, another pricey team to get exposure to. I don't mind them. Obviously, we don't mind these guys in GPP formats, or if you want to really pay up for one, you can certainly look at guys like Bautista, Donaldson, Encarnacion. But I like the 4, 5, 6 guys. I think those are decent values there.
Agreed. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I think in terms of value, you can look at Martin and Tulo and feel pretty comfortable. Michael Saunders. He's probably pissed I said that, but yeah, no. I mean, if you want to pay up, I like this Blue Jays stack. It's just going to be how,
When you look at the pitching on tonight's side, it just seems like pay up options. You rather go pitching. I'm going to make them the.
And he's gone. So anyway, we will continue. Oh, is he here?
Yeah, I've been here.
Oh, well, we'll see about that, sir. Anyway, Orioles, pretty mad this team tonight with their prices. I think we can pretty much fade, other than maybe, a Trumbo at 44.
Yeah, I think Trumbo 44 is reasonable. Steve Pearce, if he's in the lineup, I'm okay with. Jonathan Scope at 3,300, I might feel okay diving down with in terms of value if he slips up into the top of the lineup, which he could if Jones sits out again. So I guess I don't mind those guys. But yeah, I mean, as far as paying up for guys like Machado, I'm not really looking to use. I'm not really looking to use a Chris Davis either.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So. Rays and Red Sox here, Jake Odorizzi versus Drew Pomeranz. As far as this game goes, I mean, decent values for the Red Sox in terms of guys like Pedroia and Bogarts. Even a Hanley, I don't mind. I think those are reasonable options against Odorizzi.
Yeah, Travis Shaw's okay as well. Overall, though, not totally digging, the Red Sox in terms of how they're going to fit into this slate. I do like Bogarts and Pedroia, though.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 4Ks. I mean, you look at Odorizzi, reverse splits guy, is home run prone from the right side. So I'm okay with Hanley in kind of a GPP format just because he is cheaper in consideration to the other first baseman.
That's fair. Certainly fair. And I think we're both in agreement that probably going more at Pomeranz tonight than the actual Rays. Forsythe and Longoria in play, but really just deep tournament guys.
Yeah, definitely in agreement. I mean, those guys with their success against lefties, I'm okay with targeting them in GPPs, but yeah, much more in favor of Pomeranz here because the Rays' offense against lefties has been pretty abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
White Sox and Tigers next. Anthony Renuato versus Daniel Norris. And here, the Tigers' prices really aren't that bad to fire away with. I think you can kind of work them in and out of games. Um, Ian Kinsler 3.9. I mean, that's certainly a reasonable price for him. Even if Victor Martinez, if you want to drop down from Cabrera for 1,000.
And if you're looking at a path to Scherzer, I mean, Tyler Collins batting second here for 2,700. That could be a good start in terms of finding some value that makes a Scherzer fit. So I'm certainly okay with that. Yeah, I love Cabrera as a pay up if you're going that direction. Victor Martinez is nice as well, though. So love him 39. So I think you can definitely fire away with a few of these guys in cash. Obviously, Cabrera. Man, I don't really know how you deal with him tonight. It's kind of like I love the matchup, but at the same time, probably just tournaments for me.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think if I'm going with cash, I mean, I'm probably going to be looking at Vmart and trying to get some of the cheaper options there, just because I don't see a ton of 5K guys getting into my lineups.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But Upton 4-2, we talked about him being a nice little hot streak here, getting on base of late. I'm certainly okay with targeting him against Renuato, who's poor against right-handed bats.
Yep. So Kinsler, Collins, Upton, I mean, Victor Martinez, all really, really solid prices.
Yeah, definitely. And on the White Sox side, I'm not really looking to use them here. Tim Anderson, not quite the value shortstop option. I mean, you can certainly give him a look. He's hit lefties at a decent rate, but outside of that, I mean, Abreu and Frazier aren't badly priced. I just don't see myself kind of diving into them tonight.
I'd like Abreu more if first base wasn't so stacked tonight, but it's really stacked. So
Yeah,
maybe a Frazier, but for this lineup, I think I'm limiting exposure.
I think given that Napoli's the same price, it kind of
Yeah,
puts Abreu out of play for me here.
right.
Twins and Indians next year, Andrew Albers versus Josh Tomlin. Look at Tomlin, reverse splits guy, but still home run prone, extreme to the both sides of the plate. I like Miguel Sano at 3,900. I don't mind a Dozier in tournaments. And as far as the lefties go, Mauer and Kepler are kind of more just in play if I'm looking to actually stack the Twins.
Yeah, I think you can get weird with this stack. I really do. Maybe without Plouffe, maybe the 1, 2, 4, 5, something like that, or maybe a 3, 4, 5, 6 with Jorge Polanco involved. I like these prices. I think they're reasonable, especially if you're trying to go a contrarian way. But I really think that's what it is, more than anything. Maybe a Sano sprinkled into random lineups, but overall, probably just stick to stacking with this lineup.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's more of a stack thing. I'm going to kind of go all in if I'm going with the Twins.
Right.
As far as the Indians go, I mean, a couple down games here of late, but facing a lefty here at home, the Indians do hit much better at home. I know against Southpaws, they really haven't been all that great, but Albers is not a good lefty. Really low swing strike rate. So I don't mind the Davis, Rajai Kipnis, Lindor, Napoli kind of stack there.
Yeah, I like it. I think we're ready to go with this team. They're at decent prices. I think you can get quite a bit of exposure, especially Napoli. They have been bad of late, but I don't care. I think you can fire away with the righties here and feel pretty confident.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, over a 5.5 run projected total here, I'm certainly okay with firing away again, even with their kind of recent struggles over the last week, especially against left-handed pitching.
Yep, absolutely.
Marlins and Mets next year, Seth Lugo versus Tom Kohler. I feel pretty similar here, although I don't mind the Yoenis Cespedes at 4.4 price tag. I think that's pretty reasonable for a guy who's hit really well both handedness this season. Obviously been one of the only real consistent Mets hitters this year. So him, I like in all formats. Jay Bruce is an intriguing GPP option in his price tag, but really boom or bust at this point.
Yeah, this is a boom bust lineup. Kind of like Kohler's boom bust. It's just a deep tournament move that I'm not actually particularly interested in. I mean, I do think Loney, again, 2,700, super cheap. I mean, another way to sort of maybe get into a Scherzer lineup, but obviously you're not too confident in his fantasy production.
Yeah, certainly. And on the Marlins side, I mean, I'm not really looking to use anyone here. I mean, always Yelich is overpriced for my take. Gordon, I don't really like. I mean, Ozuna at 3.9 you can make a case for, but outside that, this Marlins offense really hasn't given you much in terms of upside or any real consistent production of late.
Agreed. Just a mediocre game overall.
Yeah. Padres and Braves next here. In terms of the Padres, I mean, I'm not really looking to get a lot of exposure to them. Obviously, Terran's weakness is lefties, but he is much better at home. I don't even think in GPPs I'll be tossing much Padres in. I mean, but they do have three lefties there you can possibly consider.
What do you think about Dickerson at 32?
See him and Solarte because of those prices. It's like
Yeah.
in a GPP. I mean, sure.
It's conceivable. I'm okay with it. But Jankowski at 38, that's kind of pushing into a range where I just feel like, you can pay up 2K and find a better value, at maybe a different position. But either way, I just think you can distribute that salary more efficiently. So I like Terrain tonight. I think you can look at Solarte or Dickerson. But overall, I'm heading towards Terrain tonight in this matchup.
Yeah, I am too. And as far as the Braves go, I mean, their outfielders are a little bit more priced up in terms of Incayarte, Markakis, but I still don't mind them. I like the front five here quite a bit still. I think they're intriguing options. I think you can look to get a good amount of exposure against Jackson, who overall is your right-handed arm that you're looking to target against here.
And I'd imagine, while the ownership's never going to be high in the Braves, I'd imagine the ownership is going to be with the lefties. So I feel like you could get actually a pretty good odds on like a Matt Kemp tonight. So yeah, I do think that 1 through 5's in play. Obviously you're paying up for Freddie Freeman, but man, we've certainly seen that pay off in the second half against righties, huh?
Yeah, I mean he's a guy who 4,800. I mean if you've been rolling him over the last month or so, he's been phenomenal. I mean you're a 400 WOBA in the month of August, so I'm completely fine with using him in all formats.
Yep.
Pirates and Cubs next year, Kyle Hendricks versus Chad Kuhl. And Pirates are kind of priced down yet again here, like they're facing Arrieta yet again. We saw how that turned out last night, but I'm not expecting a ton of production here. I mean, Hendricks has been a guy who has been really consistent in terms of limiting upside. So even though the prices are cheap, I mean, even though Bell at 2,200 is digging deep in the 2-hole, I'm not going to rule him out just because that value is near a punt play for such a good spot.
So, and again, with the slate considered, we're kind of trying to tap into value here. Bell not an optimal play against Hendricks, but again, at 22, it's not a horrible move. Obviously, had the homer yesterday in a less than optimal matchup. So, I think at 22, it's kind of worth it at that stage.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, outside of that, I'm not really looking to pay mid-fours for Polanco or Marte. In McCutcheon's priced down quite a bit, but Hendricks is the guy who, it needs to be basically bare min for me to target tonight, which says a lot about that Pirates offense. They just have not been a consistent one to target.
Right.
In terms of the Cubbies, I mean, I don't mind kind of the value in the back end there, but I feel like getting Rizzo, Bryant, Fowler into lineups is just going to be a GPP move only.
Yeah, and even Zobrist here is a little more priced up than FanDuel. I'm still okay with it. I can't do 56 for Bryant tonight. I just like the pitching too much. I guess like if you do this 1 through 4 stack, I just don't know what you're going to be able to afford, maybe a Greinke or something like that, but I don't know. I don't know how you're going to manage that. I want to get at least one of my guys over 11K tonight for pitching.
Yeah, I do too. And as far as, I mean, Kuhl has shown a little bit of weakness against lefties. And this is more just kind of the slate speaking, but using Jason Hayward at 3,200, I might take a look at just given the value there. But, we know Hayward's consistency this year has been an issue.
Certainly has been. Obviously, we did see that one homer, though. So
that one homer.
It was there. It was there. He actually has been okay of late, especially for what he's priced at consistently now. 32, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad. I mean in his last 3 games, I mean 2 hits in each, so I mean there could be something coming around there.
All you're asking for, you're not looking for him to do what Justin Upton's done of late, but we'll take a hit and a half from you, Hayward.
Yeah, that would be nice. What's up with the halves today?
I just like being weird.
I mean, because you talked about Loney hitting 2.5 home runs and hitting the bar after. I didn't know what that.
Jason, I used to play a lot of poker, and what I've learned is you just don't want people to get a good read on you. So you just throw out random things sometimes that nobody will understand, and then see how people react to it. So I'm going with 1.5s today and halves today, and we'll just see how it goes from there. I don't know why I'm doing it. I really don't. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why. It's just happened, and
Do we really know anything that you ever do, or as for why?
no,
No.
I don't even know. So it'd be tough for anyone else to know.
All right, Mariners and Rangers next here. Cole Hamels versus James Paxton. We talked about Hamels possibly facing a pretty weak lineup tonight in terms of them against Southpaws, which I definitely can see. The bats are priced down here, but I don't think it's a matchup where I'm really looking to get exposure to.
Yeah. I think Beltran is kind of a guy I'm looking at again. I'm okay with him at 36, but overall, I mean, I think you can take your shots with this lineup, but it's more of again, I'm kind of I've been using this the last few days, but I just feel like they're more one-offs than an actual stack.
I was speaking more so than the Mariners
Well,
in their match.
I'm speaking about the Rangers.
Well, I'm just trying to get on the same page here, but
Oh.
yeah, I mean, Beltran is okay on the Rangers side. Beltran a little bit priced up here in terms of third base, but I think he's a reasonable option here still.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and in terms of the Mariners, I'm not really looking at anyone here. I like Hamels tonight, so that's kind of going to be a way I'm going. I think you can get some low ownership on him. So, especially if Cruz is out of the lineup, I think he's a really high upside guy that you might get for, under 20% in the tournament.
yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, a decent price, a lot of solid upside. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm not really looking to take any Seattle bats here against Hamels. I think there's a kind of other options to go with.
Hmm.
A's and Astros next year. Colin McHugh versus Kendall Graveman. If you want to dive down, I still don't mind the A's here tonight. I mean, Stephen Vogt at 3-3 certainly reasonable. And the more I kind of look at Coco Chris leading off at 3,700, I'm feeling slightly okay with it if it fits. Not a first priority, but I think if he does kind of work in, I'm okay with it.
Right, right. Not a first priority, but if he's there, you got 3,700 left for an outfielder. It works. I like the matchup. I like him and Vott. Davis probably out of my price range tonight for what obviously has the upside, but in terms of floor, I'm probably not going to be touching him. So give me the two lefties at the top of the lineup, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like Chris Davis. I think he's at a reasonable price. Probably won't be working him into cash, but GPPs, I'll definitely be having some exposure to him tonight.
Fair. I mean, we don't have to agree on everything, I guess, right?
No, I wasn't taking a shot at you.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
was just giving my take on Chris Davis.
you know what? That's how Skip and Stephen A made their career. So maybe I just gotta go. Maybe I should just be like the super contrarian. Like
James Loney.
I love Ryan Healy tonight. He's my favorite play of the night at third base.
That would be a very Skip Bayless take. I mean,
It so would, and he'd like go into his background about where he grew up and stuff. And
yeah,
how
which
that
was probably like the suburbs in New Jersey.
That's very likely. It's very, very likely.
As far as the Astros go, I mean, George Springer, Alex Bregman, reasonable prices sitting there in the mid 4K range. I don't mind those guys. But Altuve, Correa, a little bit overpriced for me. Graveman is a guy who struggles on the road. I do like the Astros stack, but I think it's just more kind of one-offs as far as the front two go for me.
Yeah, I agree. Front two, Altuve's tough to pay up for. We obviously saw the homer last night, but 52 is a lot, you know?
Yeah, it certainly is. And in terms of second base, I mean, guys like Kinsler, obviously Kinsler has been struggling, same with Kipnis, but I do like their matchups much more than Altuve here for the price tag.
Right.
So, Cardinals and Brewers next year. Adam Wainwright facing Lloyd Peralta. In terms of the Brewers, I feel very similar. I don't like Wainwright, but I also don't like the Brewers bats at their prices against them.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of a mediocre matchup overall. I wish Braun was a few hundred cheaper. I might start to look at taking a shot there, but overall, um, Wainwright gets the slight edge, but like it was, like an MMA match, the first bout of the night where you're like, well, there were no winners here, but I'll give it to Wainwright.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
kind of a split decision.
Yeah, like there were no winners here. Even the viewers didn't win. It was just a mess out there.
I totally drifted off through about half of what you said. So.
That's fine. I like Brandon Moss tonight. I think he's a really good option. Fit him in at first base or outfield.
Yeah, I certainly feel okay with using a Moss at 4 or 5 with Peralta struggles against lefties. Carpenter, if you're looking to pay up, I don't mind him. But more, once again, the 5K guys certainly just kind of pushing the GPPs because I think building for cash is going to be low to high threes to low to mid fours in terms of trying to get that balance.
Right.
So, but as always, Cardinals' offense is pretty limited in terms of where we're looking. That's the front half.
Absolutely.
So, Royals and Yankees next year. Masahiro Tanaka versus Edison Volquez. Not a big fan of this game here. Looking at some of these guys' prices, I mean, they're certainly reasonable, but not a big fan of picking on Tanaka. And I'm not really looking for using a near 5K Gary Sanchez. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's tough to.
The run's over. The run's over.
That's tough to talk yourself into. Certainly had a great run, but I think I'm out at that price. You kind of look at this Royals lineup as well. I don't see much there. I just don't want much from this game unless I'm looking at Tanaka.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm with you. I mean, in that ballpark, we saw decent runs yesterday, but better pitcher for the Yankees today. A little bit more of a consistent guy at home in Volquez here as well. So, Dodgers and Rockies next. Tyler Anderson versus Rich Hill. In terms of the Dodgers bats, they're at reasonable prices here. I mean, you can get exposure to cores for around the 4K mark with Hernandez and Kendrick. Sagden at 3K. I mean, I guess I don't mind some of the prices in terms of the Dodgers here on DraftKings. It's much more of a value here, but I'm not expecting a ton of upside in terms of this game.
I'm okay with the prices here. Sagden, especially at 3, is fine. So I think we'll kind of look at that. But overall, yeah, not the most appealing Coors game. So I think we can fire away with those three you mentioned.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they're okay, and if you feel like you need to get exposure to Coors, I think those are the guys to do it with.
In terms of Rockies, I mean, Arenado. Are we priced out on Arenado, or can you still fire him in a tournament? I think I can still fire away with him, but going to be a special lineup to fit that in for sure.
Yeah, that I don't know if I can. Paying 5.5 for a guy facing Rich Hill. I mean, even though he's in Coors, I don't. Sure, maybe he gets a homer, but the chance he goes off for even more, I don't quite see that happening.
Right, agreed.
So, yeah, I'm kind of out on the Rockies tonight. I don't see myself paying up for those prices. It's a little ridiculous for the matchup. So, Reds and Angels next here. Jared Weaver versus Tim Edelman. Obviously, Cole Calhoun, Albert Pujols certainly in play. I like Calhoun's matchup here against Edelman. Edelman does struggle with lefties in his limited time in the majors. Outside of that, I mean, because I think there is enough value here on DraftKings, I don't know if I'm going to be quite diving down into the back half of the lineup.
No, I'm not either. I don't know. It's just you like targeting these pitchers overall, but in terms of the Angels, I'm looking at Calhoun, Trout, Pujols, and in terms of the Reds, I'm kind of just looking at Votto, Duvall, and Hamilton. I don't mind Hamilton's price at all at 42.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't even mind, I guess, a Cozart or Phillips if you want to go into a kind of a full stack mode with the Reds, and kind of going a little bit more GPP territory. Even a Schebler at 3,400, I'm okay in terms of value. I mean, outside of Votto, I mean, and even Duvall, I mean, the rest are kind of reasonable price guys. But obviously, the matchup's solid against Weaver because he's bad against both sides of the plate.
Right, exactly. Always a good time to target Jared Weaver with anyone. So I'm not going to say no to anyone in that lineup tonight, basically.
Dimebacks and Giants next here. Johnny Cueto versus Zach Greinke. Guys are priced down here, obviously because of the matchup, but I don't think there's even quite the appeal here, just given that they're facing Cueto and Greinke in AT&T Park. I don't see real upside here with anyone.
No, I don't either. I like Pollock at 28, but I don't like the matchup. So, yeah, I think you just fade both lineups tonight. I don't see the need.
No, I don't either. So let's go wrap things up with the DraftKings Daily Trot. Be sure to check out DaveFantasyCafe.com for all great tools and content.